Hi, welcome back to Real Reviews. This is Cody Williams, and we are here to talk about the movie Men. As odd as it sounds, but this is the actual title for A24's newest horror flick to grace the silver screen. To anyone that knows me by this point, you already know how much I love A24 movies in general, so you could say I'm really ecstatic about this new release. Now, before we get any further, let's talk about the movie. The movie story follows the aftermath of a personal tragedy for Harper as she retreats alone to the beautiful English countryside, hoping to find a place to heal. However, someone or something from the surrounding woods appears to be stalking her. What begins as simmering dread soon becomes a fully formed nightmare, inhabited by her darkest memories and fears. Well, that was a movie. Honestly, I don't know what I just watched. Sure, it's disorienting at first with its ambiguity, but even so, I loved it. From the director Alex Garland, who brought us such fascinating films such as Ex Machina and Annihilation, this is not his first rodeo giving us a movie that's a head scratcher. See, I like movies to empower analytical thinking to help fill in the gaps, and this movie delivered as such. I will admit that I had to look up an explanation of the ending online because I was so discombobulated. After reading said explanation, I felt the movie did a brilliant job as an inverted horror film with its unique sense of visual storytelling. The film definitely has some gorgeously beautiful cinematography, top-notch acting, mind-bending special effects, and a script that is a stroke of genius. The best thing about the movie itself would have to be the characters who carry the film on their shoulders. Jessie Buckley is phenomenal as Harper, the movie's main central protagonist that the story revolves around as she deals with some heavy emotional baggage. Another standout is Rory Kinnear, who surprisingly plays all the men throughout the movie. Was it weird seeing him play different characters? Sure, but I did find it a bit distracting, but the reasoning behind it did have a great payoff. The only thing that was a bit too much for me was the fact that his face was superimposed on a much younger actor. When you watch the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This movie is not like your typical horror flick with an abundance of jump scares, whereas this film devotes itself to the dreadful atmosphere and haunting visual imagery to unsettle the viewer. This is the kind of horror that I admire rather than having jump scares that just comes across as annoying. I was so horrified during the film's climactic last act as it was so obscenely disgusting. As far as other visuals go, this movie is so beautifully shot on camera with a lush green countryside scenery. There is also some great utilization of up close shots of set pieces and shadows to help implement the mood for whenever a scene calls for it. To truly appreciate the slow burn horror film to the fullest degree, you kind of have to soak in the atmosphere that the cinematography helps develop that it does so great at. The story itself, I will say, is definitely one of a kind. There are several themes thrown around in the movie, and let's just say that I appreciate the many allegories and metaphors that are scattered throughout. May be confusing at first, but the more you think on it after the fact, you can just see how brilliant the film is. If there's anything I found myself not liking about the movie, it would probably have to be the film's inconsistent tone. There are some parts of the film that tries to take itself a little bit too serious, and weirdly enough, I find myself laughing at them. If it was intentional, I'd brush it off with no issues whatsoever, but come on. Regardless, this is still a remarkable movie that I definitely see myself watching again. Overall, Men is a surrealistic, bizarre trip of a film that will leave you rattled by the time the movie's all said and done. This movie is such a viscerally horrifying experience, making it stand out as a truly unique movie of its kind. It's not one of Alex Garland's best works, but it is an admirable film that is definitely worth checking out. I give this movie an A-. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel to keep up with my real reviews.